2342.
Welcome back, folks. It's Sunday night. This is the second installment in the Back in Black series.
Parentheses.
Yeah. Tonight we got Gaz with us. We got Hank. Noticeably absent is Wes. He is out doing life stuff.
Yeah.
But
it's an illusion. He's upstairs.
It would be funny, but he's actually not.
No, nice.
I'm flying solo with the dog tonight.
Ooh.
So yeah. But
awesome.
It is wave 2 and 3 of the Black series.
They're small ass waves. I think
they are.
Early on, I don't think they had their game refined yet.
No.
I think they were bumping things around a bit, trying to find their footing. So now they can put out 55 figures every week.
Yeah. Already seen the Skeleton Crew wave in Lindsay.
I know. In stores.
We were just talking about it last Tuesday on Random Fandom.
It's funny. I think that's a smarter bet. Not necessarily for the collector, because you don't know what you're buying yet. You're just buying a wave based.
Playing it that way, right?
Right.
Based on what happened with the
Acolyte. Didn't do this with the Acolyte, and those figures you can find them for $5 almost anywhere.
Yeah.
That's a little exaggeration, but they did that with the Obi-Wan figures were out before, and so I know that those waves distribution was a little screwy there, but you had the Ahsoka wave running concentric with the release of the show as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think from the toy people standpoint, from the Lucasfilm standpoint, it's a good idea to run your toys a month before your show drops, just in case.
Yeah.
Well, they did that in the 80s, didn't they?
A lot of comics.
Comics
is the big spoiler, man. I used to collect Mad Comics, and you would be reading the Empire Strikes Back iteration, months before you saw the movie.
Yeah.
But I picked up each figure and read the back just in case there was spoilers or anything, but they kept it pretty vague.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool.
So nothing. Aside from you get all the people's names and whatnot. But
Lego's where you get all the major spoilers lately.
Yeah.
There's glam shots of sets, and you're like, holy shit, there's Jason Syndulla from in now we know Ahsoka is spoiled slightly,
Yep. Got some comments coming in here. Josh is here. Hey.
What is up? Joe-pan.
Oh, it says he ordered a G.I. Joe style Fandom Power shirt.
Not a boy.
Nice.
Thanks,
man.
And the sale's going on right now, so now's the time to do it, right?
I should have wore the Munchie Chi one. Damn it.
Nice.
Damn it. Oh.
I've got the Spongelix one on, so Lexicon, remember that one. But anyway, been a crazy week. We had the Tyson fight finally happen.
Man, if you could call it that.
Yeah. I think it was just more like the spectacle payday.
Right. It's funny to watch all the experts talk about it like it was real, and no human being I've interacted with think it's real whatsoever. There's not one person I've gone oh no, that was legit.
I'm not even.
But the experts are.
At all.
I'm not even a big boxing fan, and to me, it didn't look real compared to the other fights that were going on.
Yeah,
I'm like, this looks like made up. It's like WWE, right?
the two undercard. The first one was just a ridiculous farce. That first fight was, I don't know what was the guy humping the dude in the corner. And
that was just rude.
But those other two fights, to me, it was like the boxers were instructed to defend as little as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I've seldom seen a real boxing match where everybody looked like Rocky at the end. Like that. Like that's so played up. It's a super rare thing. It happens more in the MMA than straight boxing.
Yeah.
But most guys or girls can defend so well these days. Like the technical boxing is so good. You don't see people opened up like you did. Like, so it felt a lot like, let's give them a spectacle. Let's find the hardest hitters we can find that can take the most damage and tell them not to even put their hands up.
Yeah, because Serrano, like, she just kept going forward, bleeding eye and all.
Oh yeah.
But,
it's crazy.
Josh says, I don't care anything about boxing, and I can tell.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And that is the genius, if you will, of that kid, Jake Paul, because he 120 million people, and I bet you 100 million of them are not boxing fans, watch that friggin' shit.
More than likely. But we're here tonight to talk about action figures.
Yes.
So I suppose we should dive into it.
Go.
So first, we have, and I'm reading off the box, number 5, Princess Leia in her slave outfit.
That's right.
Yowzers.
I know the whole slave thing is frowned upon now within Disney culture, but
I mean, so do they reissue the Phantom Menace? Is like Anakin now like a fire spray? Like yeah, it's still a thing. I it's the silliest of things to pick a threadapod. There's huge reasons why even the actress had a problem with what was going on here, but it's not really. I don't know. I find that the least offensive thing.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, and apologize to people that do find it offensive. I mean,
you do have a proper alternative now with Hut Slayer Leia.
That's a cool name too. I mean, that's literally what she is there. So,
but she's wearing the same gear, so what does it matter?
Yeah,
exactly. Right.
And nobody had an issue with it. And when they show the regular dancers and they were slave, because it comes to Leia, it's a big issue.
This is it.
Issue. Yeah.
And she actually got to wear a bra in Star Wars. So contrary to what George Lucas told her in part 1.
Right. And I guess what's good about this figure really is that I mean the face sculpt's not bad. This is pre-photo,
pre-face print, yeah,
pre-face print and pre-photo paint, like the computer painting. So this is a half decent representation, and it's got real better than the rest of the line until recently in terms of a female sculpt, because all of the women have been super derpy, super thin legs that don't stand. So they did a good job with this figure, and that's like proportioned. It looks better, and I don't know if they went all out like that. Like it's more like the Marvel, like the superhero figures, like the skin tight uniforms and stuff. But I have some serious peg-legged females in this line that just they don't look proper. Their arms are way too skinny. Their legs are way too skinny. They're trying to give them like that superhero. I don't know. This is sort of almost more natural. I mean, it's absolutely exaggerated, but it works. And I don't know why they abandoned this style of female sculpt moving forward, because I don't actually know when the next female in the line is, but it descends rapidly. She looks like she's got, I don't own this figure, but she looks like she has solid ankles. I don't know if that's soft goods boots or if those are sculpted boots. But that's one of, they do, right? And that's one of the problems. Like I go on about it a lot. The Attack of the Clones Padme, it's a wicked look, but her ankles are so flimsy. She's eternally leaning up against something, which is not great on a shelf. So I don't know why they, a little chunkier ankle with a little less articulation. It's like, the more stuff you add that can go wrong, it's kind of like a car, right? When you the fewer moving parts, the better.
Mm-hmm.
True. What do you think about this one, Gaz?
I think it's all right. I mean, I think the only thing that kind of pops out at me is the eyes. They look kind of weird. But other than that, it's just that you have the flesh with all the breaks for the joints and stuff kind of look.
Yeah,
they
right.
look good, but it's an action figure, right? Obviously, but
yeah.
like, it looks good. I mean, it's not the greatest, but it's not the worst. And it's Slave Leia. It's like everybody's pinup girl from Star Wars back in the day. So, yeah.
And it didn't stop there too. Like people are still clamoring for this style of figure, right? Like your Shauna or She Devil or
I think
what have you.
The movie worn bikini sold for crazy money at auction, like just a couple of years ago or last year.
It's always a mainstay at Comic Cons, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
There's always a few.
Again, with this though, I like they've come such a long way too with the soft goods that these early soft goods were almost like paper. They have a really weird sort of look and quality to them.
Right. Yeah.
That's a cool weapon though. She doesn't use that weapon in the.
But
I guess she kind of does. She picks it up and sort of defends with it a little. She doesn't really.
Was that's the Gamorrean guard weapon, right?
It is totally.
Yeah. So it kind of fits the aesthetic.
It does, yeah. And she does sort of defend. She swings it around a bit, but yeah. And it looks like in the box there's two weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like looks like a
pike rifle or something.
Yeah. Or maybe an iteration with the blade,
maybe
inside or something.
I wonder if that's kind of like the one that she's holding in the picture with the blade. I wonder if it's more like the Jaffe sticks from Stargate. Jafar carried those pikes, and they would open up to be like laser weapons. I wonder if it's kind of like that because the end of it,
they look a lot like that. They look like what were the skip guards were carrying. Like Lando was wielding one of these.
It's cool.
I know Wes mentioned that if he could, he would get the new face sculpt of Carrie Fisher and swap it onto this one.
Yeah. I mean, see, and there's a new tech now and we've got it a couple times and we'll get there eventually. One year we'll get there so instead of swappable heads, they've been doing swappable face plates.
Yeah.
That's a really cool feature that I've been liking out of some of the new stuff.
Yeah, because it takes up less plastic. You get more options.
The problem with this is that the hair sculpt is spot on.
Right. With the braid and everything. Yeah.
And every other better face sculpt doesn't have this hair sculpt. So you've got hopping on,
the cinnamon buns.
I mean, the newest Leia is perfect. Like that's their best face sculpt they've done.
In your playtime,
buns, right?
In your playtime, if you put the other head sculpt on, it's just that Leia's feeling feisty tonight.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. We're going on.
I wonder if that chain is removable. I know on the Chewie version, the other end of when Boushh, when she's in disguise and brings Chewie into the court, Jabba's court, his chain's not removable.
No, because if you look at it, her sorry, I'm pointing at it. If you look at the one where she's profiled, right? It looks like there's like a red bit that goes around her neck.
Right.
And that might be part of the sculpt, and it looks like it's connected to that in the front.
Yeah.
It does look though like it's a solid, non-movable chain though.
Right.
It's I don't know. I think they could have done better with like an actual, just even if it was plastic links, just something movable, right?
I have I think it's the Power of the Force version of this.
Okay.
Of this one, and I had gotten the Padme one that came with a real chain.
Nice. Like
the one that they're in the Coliseum.
Yeah.
And I put that on her. I think it fit around her wrist. That's kind of cool.
Nice.
That's wicked.
Yeah. That is our first one out of wave 2.
Not bad. You can see they're cashing in on that the otaku members of our community by getting this one out the gate so early.
Yeah.
I think this was a. I mean, I don't know if they've been clamoring for Slave Leia, or sorry, let me see it correctly. Jabba's Slayer, Hutt Slayer Leia for like a long time, even before the Power of the Force, right?
No, it's true.
Because this was one of the ones that went quick, and the Power of the Force when this one came up, they you couldn't find it on the
Yeah,
peg. They just take it.
absolutely true. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is like one of the popular ones that they wanted.
And I guess this is technically the first figure that's not in the line, the original line.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
But they did tap it a few times. Like they did bring it into the Force Unleashed line. Those static posed ones.
Oh, that's right. There's definitely a vintage collection version of this before it became that in name in the early waves.
Yeah.
Verse 50, there's definitely a Hutt Slayer Leia. But I wonder if Disney's going to stick to their guns, because they've said they won't ever be reproducing this. But having rebranded the name, do you think they'll return?
I can't see why they would leave any money on the table.
Yeah, right. That's a good point.
Like I regret not picking this one up. I remember seeing it on the shelves too, and it's like, all right,
look, because when you're marketing, all right. So like this line would be more considered a collector's piece, right? Collector items. Little kids aren't buying these. So if you put it on this line, chances are a kid's not going to see it. And especially now that you're most of the time you're selling online anyway. You're seeing a lot of these in the stores is rare if you're not seeing peg warmers and stuff like that.
That's right.
And you could still come out with this and just do an exclusive online at a website, just to sell it there. If you're afraid that kids are going to get their hands on it, the collectors are going to buy it. You don't need to do like the simple toys. Well, I'm going to say simple toys, but like the simple versions, like the 5 POA ones, those are the ones that I think would kids be playing with, unless they're playing with these. I don't know. I mean, whatever. If I had kids, I'd let them play with whatever they wanted to. But,
exactly.
But nonetheless, you're not going to pop it out in the kids line.
I have
you're not going to do like that Fisher Price like style Star Wars figures that they come out with.
Yeah.
They're in that one pose, kind of like a squat. Look, they got the hands out like this.
I don't know what the market is on like a grand scale. I know that they still pump out toys of all age groups, and they all must sell because they're always being produced.
Right.
And like the toy aisle is something that's always varied and usually full, unless you're a Joe fan or a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
Those are empty. But I don't I have one buddy, and I would say with a child, like a boy, that's prime action figure, like playing age, and while he owns a ton, because I gave him 500,000 action figures personally, he's like, they're into video games. And I'm not like, what is the market for? How many of these kids are outside digging in the dirt? Like we probably all were.
True enough there. Yeah. True enough.
Yeah. And like you look at other stuff like the Fisher Price Little People, even those now are getting licensed out to stuff that is not Fisher Price age appropriate.
Right. Everything's getting turned into a big shelf, like a dust collector, I say. That's what my stuff inevitably is, but they're Funko popping the crap out of everything. There's so many different iterations of things that they're trying to draw the public into, like to try to make the layman a collector and fill their shelves with. So they're smart as heck, because my shelves
are
full.
Yeah.
All right.
What's next?
Next up on the list, we have the reissue from the San Diego Comic-Con of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Reissue of a reissue of a reissue.
Oh, there you go. Archive
reissue. Yeah, the archive series. Nice. Which is just, so this kind of chokes me up a bit. And when you do a comic book run and you do 40,000 issues, and it does super well, and I bet you it's been a long time since there's been a second edition printed of much in the print in print. When you can get everything digitally, it's probably a different animal. But I guess you could say that this is an alternate edition, even though it's the exact same figure as the exclusive. But that they made 500,000 of these or so. Like, I'm just arbitrarily number. Like, that's the one thing about Hasbro, is they never disclose the numbers. Like, you don't know exactly what exclusivity is. Yeah. When they don't tell you. But so it's like you get the distinct impression, like, okay, they made X number of these and held back the large majority of them, knowing that this would be in the first or second wave.
Yeah.
And then you're like, did they find a tractor trailer load of them and put them back on the market when they decided 2 years later to release? Or scarier, do they have a stake in the secondary market game? I can't think what that would be unless they have internal people buying and selling at this top dollar, which doesn't make sense for $1 million corporation to go ahead and secondarily nickel and dime people. But that's the weirdest thing, is that you drive the market up, you hit these top prices, and then a few years later the identical figure comes out repackaged. It's not even like a second, like that's what I was getting at with a comic book, where you clearly go volume 2 or second edition or third printing or what have you. Now I guess the packaging is what delineates that, but like, don't you feel like you're being played with?
Well, I mean, I would agree, but the first release was the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, and you can at this time you could only get it there unless you're going to buy it on the second.
Sure, this is less than a year later. This is 6
but I
months
mean,
later.
I think they always knew they were going to do it, right? They always going to put stuff. Exactly. We need to give them something for Comic-Con. What do we do? Well, I mean, it's either Darth Vader. I mean, you're only going to do like 4 figures, right? You're either gonna do a Darth Vader, you're gonna do Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, or Boba Fett. One of those 4 figures, right? I think probably the biggest characters in the original
I
trilogy,
find Darth Vader. I mean, they maybe they were keeping that behind there, like, because I know when they released it as part of the when we hit there, I'll bring it down next episode.
So I think what they did is like, well, we'll do the con exclusive, and their mindset there isn't like, oh, we'll just put out a code and people can go online and buy it, right? Because they weren't even thinking that. They were just thinking, we have a limited quantity at Comic-Con. This is what we're going to be doing. So they've already had this sculpt done. And they're like, well, should we put them on the first wave? Well, we just did the exclusive, so why don't we make them wait a little bit and do it in the second one? And people panic over, and then when he comes out, everybody's going to buy him. And it's the same figure, just minus Han Solo. And you did.
Yeah.
But it retains the same quality that the San Diego Comic-Con version did, right?
I mean, no, that's absolutely true. I can't, without the side-by-sides, I know that they repaint, like my version is like got the photo print. So, but almost kind of like the messiness of a hand-painted job on armor. You know what I mean? So mine's kind of like movie accurate where the scuff marks are, but almost, I don't know. I kind of prefer the like, human touch, and I think my weapons are painted different. I have my stock of my rifle seems to be black, where that seems to be dark brown. So I think they've done things of that nature. I don't actually. They may have even fixed the soft goods.
I think the things that stand out to me on this figure that I didn't realize from the exclusive one is, I mean, I noticed the backpack. I didn't like the fact that the backpack is just plain green. There should be some color there, because I don't like the brown pistol, right? I don't like the way that looks. It looks generic.
Yeah.
And then on his rifle, I never realized. I don't even know if that's the way it really looks. That you see the Colt, like 45, just sitting there.
Right.
It's got everything. It's got everything built around it. I don't recall it looking like that.
I don't know if you can even see the pistol in this, the rifle in this, but it's it has the pearl handle too. Like it does. And it does stick out.
Yeah, I don't ever recall it looking like that.
Yeah,
I could be incorrect. I mean,
it's hard though, because he was always brandishing it, like so. You know, covering up parts of it, but
I don't recall the hand. Like I'm saying, that it's that pearl covered handle. The way
right
doesn't look right to me. And then the cape, the cloth. I think somebody said that last week.
Yeah.
The cloth looks bad. I don't like the way it looks.
Compared to the new soft goods, these weird sort of paper textile things are awful. Yeah.
But still, I mean, if this is your boat, you're freaking out over it because you're like, this is Boba Fett. Look at him. Let's go.
Oh, yeah, they were flying on the shelves. And this is your opportunity, realistically. We're light years away from archive re-releases, so this was your opportunity to get that Boba Fett if you were
if you missed out on that
line early and not be short, you know.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Next up, we have Greedo.
Greedo.
Greedo. So finally, Greedo in the proper outfit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we all had this when we were kids.
Yeah.
So this is the only Greedo I own, actually, and even in the photo, he's wearing that outfit.
Yeah.
So Hasbro, and we'll probably hit those eventually one day too.
Mm-hmm.
Hasbro did a few re-releases on card backs of the original. They even got Forlom and Zuckuss with the names backwards, like they did in the original.
Oh yeah,
release.
That's great.
This is great.
It's a good looking figure.
It's a good looking figure. It's a nice sculpt. We're seeing things like that, like, you know, you can have a whole, and I'm willing to bet too, if Han and Luke's hands from these early waves, Boba Fett's hands aren't all the same generic, you know, one finger out for the trigger and the other hand closed to hold the butt of a rifle or a saber. This is totally 100%. They didn't resculpt another human head. They didn't, you know, it's 100% a new sculpt. Yeah, there's a lot about it. I like this figure too.
I mean, it's the vest in the gun belt that like stand out from the costume because it's such a contrast to the green.
That's right.
And it just looks like a gunslinger. So you know, it feels like that Western style like character that you saw in Star Wars. And it looks good. It does, like you said, that head sculpt looks cool.
Yeah.
The eyes look really good. And that left hand with all his extended fingers.
Mm-hmm. Totally looks like a standard alien, right?
Yeah. Looks good.
Yeah. And that's also, like we were talking last show, this is also a promise of things to come. So while this was one of the original line, it's nice to see them committing to just a wider thing than just the heroes. Like we knew when they let, you know, we were eventually they're going to tick off the list, but it's nice to get early in on something like this. Like I was joking yesterday about Pondo Baba being in the first line, but here we have Greedo, and so perfect. And in terms of Solo that's coming up, it also makes a nice little mix match for a scene.
Yeah. And that vest is a single piece, right?
I believe so. Yeah,
I think it's mixed, but it is a single piece. But I think it's glued at the back, so you can't like on and off it. I think that would be a cool sort of, but again, most people would lose them. But that'd be a cool sort of playability factor. And I don't know if they factor playability into a collectible thing, but I like little things like when I can unhook a gun belt, or if I can put take the vest on and off just for different photos, and you know.
He looks a little bow-legged in the package, though, right?
A little bit.
He does. Yeah. So yeah, sometimes that you can do minor adjustments from like because they get a little weird twist to them in the bubble. But and some of the new, like the mid range, they had a really hard quality to the bubble, and they would deform. Like I had a Return of the Jedi Boba Fett where I had to soak his head in hot water and reform it. Just because the bubble was so tight that it warped the helmet.
Yeah.
I think they've drastically improved the type of plastic they've used.
Yeah, I think it's also because this is like a molded to the figure, right? Because it's got 2 leg slots. I think when they have a mold that's in the plastic, that's just like one cup, and you put the figure inside. I think it's better because that for a while that's going to sit on the shelf. If you never open it, those legs are going to be bold when you open it up.
Exactly.
All the way it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you ever bought this on the secondary market and it's been in the box like that for 20 years now or 10 years now, you're screwed.
We got a comment here from Mr. B. Says vest is removable.
Is it? Nice. Thanks.
There you go.
Cheers. Nice. Thanks, Mr. B.
That's awesome. You know, I'm kind of like this, but you know the rumors, right? Because I saw a picture. I'm sure we all saw the picture of the actress that plays Greedo, that wears the suit. Yeah, and they have it in they have them in high heels. Wouldn't that be kind of a joke figure to put out as they put high heels on instead of regular shoes?
High heels Greedo.
That'd be hilarious. I don't understand. Be fun.
That would be wicked. We need a Kenny Baker that pops out of an
R2.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
You see his
just screw off the top and he comes out.
Just see his eyeball in that round glass area.
Yeah, right.
Funny.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, it is kind of weird. We got this one before Han Solo, so
Yeah.
I guess Greedo shot first.
And they got a lot of bad guys though. A few heroes and bad guys. So like so far, what we got Luke, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the first wave, we got Luke. We get this guy, fighter pilot Luke.
Yeah.
And that's
Hot
it, right?
Slayer Leia, right? Well, Han Solo and Carbonite. But...
No, we got Luke R2,
Right.
the first wave for the good guys.
Yeah.
And now we got Hut Slayer or Slave, whatever you want to say.
Sure.
Leia. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, three to something like 9.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's stacked.
With Darth Maul.
Yeah.
That's a good figure. It's a good figure.
I like it.
Yeah.
Next up here, we have
There
Han
you go.
Solo. So there you go. Now they can have their table battle.
So my favorite thing about this figure is the Stormtrooper belt.
Yeah.
Or
well,
the
more
the
than
gun
that,
belt.
right?
So it's exactly what I was saying about
Swappable.
and it's proof positive that if you can do one figure, you can friggin' do all the figures like
Mhm.
this.
Right.
Like, and I'm not asking for a Stormtrooper belt in every box I got, but I'm asking for a little bit of playability, a little bit of customizability internally across the figure. Some get better, some get worse. Again, this was a tease. For me, this is a tease because the alternate hands barely exist anywhere else across the line.
Right.
Mhm.
And if Hasbro does anything right, that and they do a lot of stuff Star Wars right, I'm gonna bitch a lot, but they seem to do it right in Marvel, in the Joes, and in the Transformers a lot more often.
Right.
If
Well, you also got to
follow me.
remember that's basically their IPs though. Like they still have to. I would assume have to get Disney or Lucasfilm's approval on the figures themselves and what they want
So
to
you
come
think
with them.
it's less money to produce the
Ye-
pips, so they don't have any check or balance. You mean they can just go
Well,
ahead.
I think yeah, with Joe's, especially GI Joe, and well Transformers because they own it now,
Right.
But with those, they actually own that intellectual product. So like when they come up with a Joe, they have their history to reach in. That's why you see classified the way they are now because the community was clamoring for old style Joes, right?
That's right.
Mhm.
And so they have a sure thing here. You're dealing with another product. This is not owned by Hasbro. It's owned by Disney or Lucasfilms. I think Lucasfilm has the actual say, right, of whatever they put out, but they're under the Disney moniker. So whatever they want to put out, and like back then, I'm not sure it was they sold he sold it to Disney in early 2000s.
Yeah.
Mid 2000s. So
Yeah.
this is already under Disney. So yeah, so I mean they have to get their approval of what they put in there and what they put out and how much they charge for it and all that stuff. But I think like you're saying, you have every version of Luke of Han Solo in episode 1. Or not sorry, episode 4.
Yeah.
In this. You have when you see him first in the cantina, when you see him flying the Millennium Falcon when he's got his little driving gloves on,
Yep.
and then you see him on Death Star. So you have all versions of him, which is perfect.
It's perfect. That open hand for the shrug.
Yeah.
That's a deadly little pose that they've got him in there.
Right.
And so early on you get real happy. Now, so his face sculpt's not the best.
No,
it's not the worst.
It's not the worst either. I've seen way worse. Like 90s Indiana Jones figures were just terrible.
Right. Well, I mean, if you look at it in the package, you can tell it's Han.
Yeah.
But like when he's in pose mode, not so much.
Like
right?
just not hitting him quite right or something.
Right. Yeah. But it's got the aesthetic, so it kind of looks like him, right?
Yeah. It's tough with these two because they do pick the best of the best for the glam shots.
Yeah.
And you do get across the early waves, like the hand painting, especially of the eyes being like can be way off. So you can get like, Han Solos that are looking to the left, like hard and things of that nature. So the glam shots sometimes are far better done. The lighting's better. Everything's better about the glam shots, unfortunately, in these early waves. But this is a great figure in terms of its accessories. It makes you go, wow, why didn't you do that with the rest of the stuff?
Love that blaster though. It's spot on.
I mean, in their defense, I mean, it's actually like the first character that they put out that's actually looks like the way he looks when you first see him. And my only critique on this is going to be that gun belt. It looks a little too big.
Yeah.
Right? It looks a little too big, but I mean, it looks good.
It's nice that it's removable, though.
Yeah, it is.
So,
yeah, that's nice. And the two weapons, there's just a lot of going on. It lets me know that they understand where their heroes are, and like,
yeah,
you know, you could have had more items with Luke, but at the end of the day, you had a saber, you have the removable helmet, you have, you know, so you almost have just as many things. You could give him alternate hands, but that you couldn't have gloveless hands because those X-wing gloves go right up the wrist. So
yeah.
Yeah, this is a really nice figure. I've been looking for it for a long time. I think that there's probably an archive version coming out soon.
Should be.
They've been Canadian exclusives the last two waves, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I was not aware of that.
The only thing, like, off the original design, nothing off the figure, but off the original design, right? The one that's weird to me is those boots. Because he's supposed to be like a smuggler and stuff like that, right? And he's got these like fancy like imperial officer boots on.
Yeah.
Right. They should be like scuffed up, or maybe got some like buckles on them, kind of like the way they like the Warriors had it on the on Battlestar. They had like little buckles on the side, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a sleek look, right? And it kind of gives off the vibe like he was with the Empire, right?
It does, yeah. That's what I used to sort of think about the stripe. Like it turns out it's like a Corellian security officer's pant, but
yeah, that's right.
But it's yeah, I always thought that he kind of was like beat up a guy and took his boots, took his pants. Right? Give me that energy when I was a kid.
Well, he is a scoundrel, so
yeah, for sure.
But yeah.
But now we've got a Luke and a Han, so and technically a Leia. All we need is a Chewie.
Yeah, and so we have them
and
across
3PO,
three films. Yeah.
But next up on the list here, we have Plain Stormtrooper number 9.
Yeah.
Derpy legs.
You know?
This is so shame, right? Because the legs are the worst part on these guys, but they look good.
Standing straight up, yeah.
I
would love to see just a full army built of these.
Yeah.
And again, it comes with 2 guns. The new Stormtroopers do not come with 2 rifles. Some of the new clone troopers definitely do.
Yeah, it looks like he has a removable. Is that a holster for his gun on his left leg?
It's funny
so I'd holster for the smaller one.
His helmet looks really strange on the far opposite the packaging on the far right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like, because I think it's the angle that they have it at, right?
It could
the way it's cut up.
Wes was sourcing different places.
I have this identical figure which they released as a part of a huge Stormtrooper blast effect Stormtrooper. And I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm not even in frame. His head comes pre-scuffed, and he has a blast mark on his chest. I don't know if you can see how loose his head is.
Oh wow!
And look at these legs, bro. Can you see like that?
Oh, those are bowling, yeah.
They're crazy curved.
That's nuts.
And one is slightly longer. Can you see that than the other?
Yeah.
Like slightly enough that they're impossible to stand up.
Oh, now that I'm looking at it, the right knee is different from the left.
Well, he's got like the knee pad on one, and he's missing it on the other one because
that is like typical across the, like, even the, I don't know if you can see it in the new sculpt in the archive. This is when they released this, they didn't release the old one, so that is sort of typical of the.
See, what they should have done was they should have given the pauldron on the shoulder pauldron, and the other 2 rifles, right? This rifle, and then the desert, the sand trooper rifle, and then that should have been your only stormtrooper, because then you could buy a whole bunch of them, and you could do your all different ones instead of having that dirty one.
Yeah, and then I would cost this company millions of dollars, because I'm sitting there at the executives table in charge of everything, going, you need an orange pauldron, a red pauldron, a white pauldron, and a black pauldron. You put them all in there, and then you have every stormtrooper you've ever had.
And
kids are still going to buy 10 of them.
Pack. or you do an
or an
accessory
accessory
pack.
pack, which is
Yeah.
even maybe an even smarter idea.
I seem to
Yeah.
recall back to the Revenge of the Sith line though, in the 3 3/4 when they had the troops come out there. Did they not do that? Like, here's your one with the red deco, here's your one with the blue deco,
Yeah, they
here's
did that.
yellow, and it was literally the same figure, just redecoed in different colors.
Well,
I know
they were coming out with like packs of them with them. I remember seeing one back in like the mid '90s where they had, or later '90s when they had like a desert trooper like squad, and you had like the one with the mate. You had the one with the orange, and then there was one with the black.
The huge
and then
backpack
it was,
with the antenna. I remember that.
So you had like a couple, like I think it was like 4 of them in the pack, and they were going crazy.
I have 5 stormtroopers. None of them are this version. 5 or 6, but they do start going crazy. I mean, I've got one with a rocket.
Hey, why not? Why not? Rocket packs.
Nope.
Ain't nothing wrong with rocket packs.
And he comes with a shoulder pauldron. He's not open, but
yeah, that's cool.
Someday, maybe.
And the the Mandalorian version of the figure, that's the Remnant Trooper. I love the look of this thing. It's just pounded to the dust.
Yeah,
really weathered, beat up.
Nice. Who don't love a good stormtrooper?
Classic. I mean, what a design. Like you know, even irrespective of the figure, this is just the skull mask, the white.
Highly recognizable.
It's super terrifying too. Like, you know, the idea that good guys wear white and then these guys will gun your children down is it's a.
Oh, they'll try.
You ever see the videos of the 2 stormtroopers that like walk patrol in Disney World with the Star Wars thing?
I have seen some of that stuff.
Yeah, and they stop like little kids and they're talking to them and stuff like that. I think that's like
it's pretty
coolest.
awesome.
It's the coolest thing.
If the little kids use the force on them, they like respond like they're being choked. Yeah.
It's freaking great. I love it.
So, final verdict. This one's good for army building, right?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I have 2 of these like later waves, but this version, and they just stand behind the other newer cuts of this.
They don't have like a mid waist, like a mid thigh cut, to turn the leg, right?
There is no mid thigh cut, but there's like there's a ball joint in the hip where you can get like a
little bit of play.
You can get about 15 degrees.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not so
because I'm looking at that one.
I mean, it does. If we want to get into that, one of the big beefs is these shoulders don't let you go any higher than that.
Right.
I'm sorry, I'm real bad at this.
Yeah.
So successive iterations of armor fix that by having the shoulder pauldron only fixed at the top, so it floats on the shoulders. So you can get a full, you know,
extension.
So they hadn't really, you know, I think that they really were doubling down on just like a nice looking sculpt with limited articulation, but they didn't really dial into like, we're going to be, you know, we're going to be doing this for years and years and years. So we're going to have to refine our process. I think they were probably testing the market.
Again, I will say again, like I said in the last episode, I think they would have sold even more if they put an alternate head in there with the ding in his helmet.
Yeah.
Just saying.
How many of them, or how many probably have been customized now to include that?
I think that's the best stormtrooper out of them all. The guy to hit his head.
Where is it here?
Find the controls that extend the bridge.
There you go.
Nice.
PK Klutz.
All right. Next up on our list here, we have Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh.
From, I'm guessing, Attack of the Clones.
That looks nothing like him.
Going on with that?
It is it's a rough
it's
head
the orange. Wes has got an orange outline around it, which is washing the saber out.
A little bit.
Oh yeah.
Blue saber, but
yeah. And they were a lot thinner, like Wes was saying last episode.
Yeah.
They're a lot thinner in the early stuff.
Yeah, they look really thin.
He looks like his color palette in this, because they have reissued him with a sort of an updated face sculpt and a better color palette. And I don't know if he's supposed to be like muddy because he's on Mustafar there, but he looks like one of the Acolyte figures, like with the yellow pants and the like super tan. This is a cool figure though. I still don't own a version of this figure. I own 3 or 4 Obi-Wans that aren't this. I don't have a Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan, unless you kind of count. Well, I guess he's definitely Clone Wars. I have a cool one where fully in clone armor except for the helmet.
Nice.
Yeah.
This is a cool figure and a key moment in all of Star Wars, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of us, even though we knew it was coming from sort of like understanding Star Wars lore,
Mhm.
were blown away when we saw this scene in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
And that lightsaber and that the reality of Anakin's fall. This is
Mhm.
a good figure. I might have banged him up a bit for the final duel,
Mhm.
or given him an alternate head, like where he's sweaty and grimacing, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a nice looking figure. From what I understand, he stands well. He poses relatively well. Again, early on, like those shoulders don't lift up very good. And because they've sculpted like
The
big
best piece.
flowy robes,
Yeah.
those elbows don't even hit 45.
Yeah, so you can't get like a
Super.
double. Can't get a
It's
double hood.
really hard to get the double hands on that saber. It's like you can force it, but then they kind of it looks very awkward. It doesn't look
So
natural.
you have
And then
to use the Force.
and you got that bottom, the bottom of his gi there, if you will,
Mhm.
Yeah.
is like it's rubber, but it's stiff enough to prevent any kind of significant leg movement. So you couldn't sit that guy on a bench or in a ship or anything like that.
Mm.
So
This have been good for soft good. They, the whole outer part of his uniform should have been soft goods, I think.
yeah.
Mm.
Or something that flows, like has a
Mm.
lot of give, but you really can tell that early on they were just going for like what looks good on the shelf, and that certainly does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In package, he looks pretty good.
Yeah.
But I'm not a fan of the face there. But
No, I was gonna say,
It's
I think
pretty,
it looks
it's
like
pretty generic. He
he
looks like
looks
a
like-
redhead. He looks like Cal Kestis.
right.
a
It
little
looks
bit,
like Ewan's stand-in, right? His body's body double.
Non-union Mexican equivalent.
There you go.
It's
Señor
not
Largo.
quite him. I mean, even the
Senior
package, it
Escobar.
doesn't look like him, right? It doesn't look like him at all.
No, especially when you have a pretty good likeness in the artwork there.
Mm-hmm.
Decent likeness.
And the outer part of his uniform makes him look a lot more bulkier than he is.
It's true. I might have included, because he's so accessory light, I might have included a full cloak with a hood.
Mhm.
Yeah, you might as well have.
That would have been nice.
Yeah.
Like a full soft goods, kind of like they did with
Yeah.
the Emperor.
Absolutely.
But it is a good Jedi figure.
It's our first, so it was
Yeah.
it's a strong outing in terms of Jedi.
Yep.
It's absolutely my favorite Star Wars character of all time.
Nice.
So
we do have one more for this evening. And apparently this week we've blasted through them. But again, we don't need to compare pricing or anything like that because nothing has changed.
These are all, we could say something one time about that these are all the same $19.99 USD price point.
Yeah.
And what was that, $46 for inflation or something like that?
I believe so, yeah.
Man, that's crazy.
But also remember then there were still complaints about how pricey they were.
Yeah.
I mean, next to everything else, these were very high. Like if you wanted to buy like something like a die-cast transformer that was highly articulate was costing you $20 at the same time that these were costing you $20.
Mm-hmm.
You had to be a nutter like me to start shelling out large.
But I mean, like overall, I think like looking back on it now, I think the simple packaging looks good. I mean, it's the black package.
Yeah.
Star Wars written on there. It's got everything written in orange. It's got that orange stripe down the off center in there, and there's a figure. I mean, it's pretty simple overall.
And nice because you can see there's no part of the figure. Pardon me, excuse me, is obscured at all. Like the like the new packaging. I think actually there's an even newer packaging now, but this, and it happens to be Obi-Wan, but the feet are obscured. Sometimes depending on the layout of the weapons in the box are obscured.
I think it's you can hold that box up again. Hold it up again.
Yeah.
Get over. So I mean, they've if they move, all right. So if they cut down the top of the box a little bit of the printing on it, right, and move the figure up a little bit, then you get the same thing right here. They've taken, like, so you see how wide that
boxes. This is the same width, but they've taken
Yeah.
a 45 off of it to put the
Yeah,
box
yeah.
art on it.
Which I think
And
is
I
kinda
think they've
cool.
actually gone back to a square box. We'll get there eventually. They've done a few cool things with packaging.
They've also done some not cool things with packaging, like
Yeah,
when
they
they
have.
switched to the fully
They're
cardboard.
just trying. You know, they're trying to do different stuff.
We do get super consistent for about, starting in 2015 with The Force Awakens, where I really jumped into the line. You have 128 figures or even 131, sorry, plus exclusives, which is a problem for some people, but
Yeah.
that are in consistent packaging, which looks really nice on the shelf. At the time, I was an in-box collector, and consistent packaging looks amazing on the shelf when you have like 100 units.
Yeah,
It
especially when you
looks
get like a side box art or something like they have on that one there, right?
right. Yeah, well, just multiple ways to display them with like figures straight on in a big open window like that, or a numerical system with a really cool like number system on the box side, or box art on the other side, or box art on the back. So
we also got to remember that like this is what 2013.
13
I mean,
going into 14. Yeah.
In the US, you still had Toys R Us, so you had dedicated space for these where they can sit on a shelf, and that's a simple box to put on a shelf.
That's right.
Or hang off a peg. Right
Yeah.
now, you don't have that now because, well, at least here in the States, you don't have that now because Walmart, Target are the two big toy places here that you can go to. If it's not a dedicated like vintage toy shop, that carries like modern stuff, and you don't have that space. You only have like a 4-foot section, not even a 2-foot section to put these in there, and they're not going to stay long, especially if you're the ones that are going to go.
Yeah,
and you know how it is in a pack. So the more of one figure's in one box, it's going to be on the shelf a lot longer.
They're not like they're not. There's no craze surrounding it,
Exactly.
like in the 80s where an entire wall of a store had 1,000 figures on it.
In the 80s, you didn't know what was coming out. You walk into the store.
Oh man,
you walk into the store and you're looking at Joe aisle, and all you see is like a 10-foot section full of this stuff.
Right, and you're
hanging
like,
there,
and you can go through, and you're going through like they're 10 deep, and there's like, there's a Snake Eyes at the back or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Now, and you didn't know it was there. You didn't know.
No, you didn't. And now you're going to get 8 figures, and you're lucky if they're there on day 2.
Yeah.
Right. Right. You got to get there early if you're gonna go.
Got to know a guy who knows a guy.
Know a guy who's knowing when the shipment's coming in.
It's funny though. I don't do that anymore.
No, I used to be there before the sun was up on Wednesday mornings at Toys R Us in Whitby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly fine pre-selling my stuff online or finding it online.
Nice.
Occasionally you walk in and you might come across something.
I still love the aha when I do see something in a brick and mortar that I don't have. I still like that feeling.
Yeah.
And I am still addicted to that feeling of like, I'm going to go out today and I'm going to look for an action figure, and that weird, like, I didn't find anything. I was like, it's like, I guess it's kind of like fishing and you didn't catch anything.
I do it now when I go to, like, if I have to go to a department store, like I need to go there to get like a pair of pants or like
exactly.
While I'm there, I'm gonna swing in there and see what I can find.
Yeah. And
Can't
I always hit the
Walmart
toy aisle
checking
first, just in case there's a guy thinking like me who's 5 minutes here before me.
I'll try not to think like that anymore. Just like gonna go. If I find something I did, like I came across the Reaction Plus O-ring. I found a bat.
Oh, nice.
In the store, and I was like, "Oh, check that out."
That's cool.
I grab that, right?
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, for our last figure of the evening, we have Luke Skywalker.
Oh, okay.
It's a good-looking Luke.
Looks like it kind of looks like Keith Richards or
Mick Jagger.
Mick Jagger.
I'll take the head sculpt from the fighter pilot Luke and put it on this one.
More than likely.
Yeah, that's a better head sculpt.
Yeah.
I think they were actually trying to do something a little different. This is after Mark Hamill's had the surgery. It looks like they were trying to capture a little of that half-chewed caramel look. this was one of my favorite figures as a kid. Like this Dagobah. It was called, I don't know if you remember, Bespin Fatigues.
Mhm.
Yeah, Bestman Luke. Yep.
It was before I could say the word fatigue. I remember being young enough to own this figure and going Bespin Fatigue. I didn't know what it said, but this is an awesome figure. I don't know if this is a great iteration of it. I'm looking at, I have a 40th anniversary Empire card back with a way better sculpt. And the funny thing is, this is the tan version from that memory, from that 1980 figure, but
Mhm.
it's like a gray in the film. It's the lighting. It's a lot like Han Solo's coat, where the lighting makes that coat look blue, but it's actually dark brown. The
Yeah,
Hoth
yeah.
coat, the parka.
Mhm.
So I have the color corrected version. I'm not. It's way up on the ceiling, like kind of high, so I'm not going to grab it. But that's what I'm staring off into the distance at.
Oh,
So it's gray, and it's like sort of battle worn more, and it has a proper 3D face sculpt. And a thicker saber, less translucent.
Mhm.
But this figure's they're getting better at hiding the joints. You can see those elbows are a little better.
start to tighten up
Yeah,
a bit,
I'm like, you see it in the legs.
especially in the knee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
nice thick ankle that's not too easily standable.
mhm.
I think they also, in early figures across all the lines, they had a tendency to make Luke's hair too short.
Mhm.
He's always kind of a bit of a hippie, right? So it's kind of
Little bit.
cool. And I love this. What's up, Zazel?
Zazel's in the house.
And I
There
love
he
this
is.
scene. I love all the scenes revolving around like the hunt for Boba Fett, trying to
Yep.
find the battle with Vader. Again, I might have included an arm you could pop up with a ripped sleeve on it or something, or
Oh,
maybe
yeah,
even
yeah.
an alternate head with the black eye from where he gets hit with the friggin', he's got the sweaty hair and the black eye from
Yeah.
when Vader's throwing things at him. But you also have the scenes with Yoda where he's wearing this. So this has got a lot of posability, a lot of scene ability, playability.
Mhm.
I think it's another excellent figure. Would I have been sitting at that boardroom table in charge of Hank's Hasbro and gone, I'm putting two Luke Skywalkers a wave apart when we haven't seen Vader yet? I don't know if that's the decision I'm making,
Mhm.
I
but
think
still a good figure.
Mind you,
I think-
they're pretty heavy on the villain side at this point.
No,
in it,
true,
right?
true enough.
I think my version of Hasbro, this one would have been the first wave instead of
I
that
agree.
X-Wing
I
wave.
agree. This might have been better than, like, more versatile at any rate than the X-wing Luke.
X-Wing.
I actually think this is Luke's best outfit in the whole series.
I
I mean-
kind of agree. I kind of
I mean,
agree. I like in the comics, which are canon, he runs around for a long time in the Yavin ceremony outfit.
Yeah, the
And
yellow with the
watching
brown
him run
pants.
around in the leather jacket with the lightsaber and the black
Yeah.
pants is kind of cool.
But this is that top is a jacket because he has that tank top underneath.
That's
Yeah.
right.
It opens up like a jacket, so
I
he
actually
could.
have two figures side by side, one with the jacket on, one with the jacket and belt off.
I mean, everything about it looks really cool. I mean, those boots are kind of crazy, but they're neat,
Yeah.
right? The way
But
they
they're
look.
accurate to. He was wearing some pretty weird looking kind of puffy boots.
Yeah,
Flight
right.
boots.
So it's just a good look, and that gun belt.
Those are
Whereas
his Hoth
Hans-
winter boots, actually.
Are they really?
Yeah, they're what he wears in the snow speeder.
So like the gun belt where Hans looks a little too big, or Hans Solo's gun belt looks a little too big for him.
Yeah.
This one just fits on there just right, but I think it should sloop down a little bit because I think it did in the show.
Yeah, like hang to the hip a bit. Like
Yeah,
there's
hang
weight to the holster.
Exactly, yeah. But it's a great figure. It's that head sculpt. I would have done I wouldn't have changed much from the original, but I know what you're saying exactly. It's a little more messy because he just came from Hoth and stuff, and he's been there for a while.
Yeah.
So it grew out a little bit.
I like the detail on the weapon with the chrome hill or muzzle.
Blaster. Yeah, muzzle.
And the offset sight.
Yeah.
On the side.
The Greedo killer.
Yeah.
They accidentally gave Han the wrong weapon for a scene.
But
famously.
it's just like that it's the face sculpt that gets me. It looks weird. I mean, it
does
looks
look a
like
little
dead on.
weird.
It looks like in the package. Like, because you're looking at it dead on, it looks good, but like that one right next to the package, he looks a little like miffed, right?
A little bit lost.
A little bit lost, yeah.
But the belt does have
he's
a
making
clip.
the face. No,
No, yeah.
The belt has a clip for the saber, though, right?
It looks like it does.
I believe it does. I believe it does. Again, I don't own, I haven't unboxed the updated version of this, but
I think
I believe all the early sabers, the blades came out of them, and it does. This does look like it's got a like in the package you can see a little hook.
Yeah.
So it does look it would hook onto something, and I think there is a little belt hook on his left-hand side. I can see. I'm pointing like you were earlier.
Yeah.
I can see a little gray piece that looks like that would correspond to a belt hook.
You finally figure it's a good figure.
Solid edition in the current releases.
Yeah, and I think you can get two hands on the saber comfortably without it looking like they're like.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's much resistance on that top piece.
Right. And kind of cool on your shelf if you don't own a lot of these to have that the classic like the most actiony Luke that you get and the most actiony Obi-Wan that you get in the same line. Yeah, you can easily go on with old man Obi-Wan and
just do a complete cloak on him. And...
Right. And again, we're hitting all across like we're into the prequels, we're out of the prequels, we're into the first movie, we're into the third movie, the second movie. So it's nice to see them doing a smattering off the board because they could have easily gone, let's just go in chronological order, or let's go in film order, or
they could have just said, well, we're going to start here and come to all these heroes, but you're given, you're jumping around from what was out previously. Yeah. So with both
kind
stuff
and forcing the market to adapt to it, like, okay, you're only getting so much from this one, now you got to go wait for the next one.
Right.
So whatever your favorite is, you're going to
cross the first wave. I already need 4 shelves because you guys are screwing up my timelines.
But I mean, yeah, they hit like the numbers in these first 2 waves, right?
Yeah.
Because you got Maul, you got Boba, you got Luke, Han, and the layer that everybody wants, whether they want to admit it or not. The only one you're missing is Chewie and Vader.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have a
deluxe pack with Chewie, right, to do the Empire thing where C-3PO's in the bag.
Yeah.
And that takes care of that.
Right.
That was my best 3PO when I was a kid. The one that came with the bag on the back. It didn't come with a Chewie. It actually was just break apart C-3PO, and it came with a bag that fit on Chewie. But it had the best chrome, and because his legs and arms came off, they were super tight. Because like the pegs were always tight, and every other iteration of 3PO I had was it's like a bell. His legs would just go. Boo, boo, boo.
But that is our wave 2 and 3.
That's excellent.
What do we think overall?
2 and 3?
2 and 3, yeah.
2 and 3. They did they bumped a bunch of stuff to wave 4. There was a Chewie and I think a Farm Boy Luke.
What was wave 2? Like 2 figures?
I believe so. I
think it was 3 figures, and this one was 2 figures, or maybe.
That's crazy.
3. Yeah, they were super short wave. I mean, now you're getting 15, 16 figures, and sometimes they'll release 2 waves simultaneously. Like here's part of a Rogue One wave. Well, here's part of a New Hope wave. Like,
I wonder if in the mindset of the collector then, knowing like the original line when it came out and there was so many figures, like it seems like if you had like a second of screen time, the character got a figure, right?
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's what everybody was talking about then. Like, yeah, we want the basic guys, but are we going to get like that 6th guy from the right in the cantina?
Things that we never got before,
or the guy working on X-wing way in the back when Han and Chewie are working on the Millennium Falcon on Hoth. We're gonna get that dude. I want to know if we're gonna get that mechanic guy.
Well, I mean, that's where some of the stuff in the like late 90s and some of the vintage collection were doing that. They were like, there's a vintage collection Camtono guy.
Yeah.
And they've done like the wackiest, like there's like a 5-pack of Trandoshan warriors. So you're getting like just like, random Trandoshans, things of that from Attack of the Clones.
I think that lies in some of the genius that that Lucas did for marketing. It was like, we're just gonna give him every figure that we can manufacture.
Oh,
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I mean, if you watch, there's a really good documentary on Netflix. I think it's Netflix, could be Disney, but about the Star Wars action figures in particular, and they were made dirt cheap to start, like dirt cheap. They
I mean, it's
they
like
were able
five,
to
that's
mass produce these things.
it's
Yeah,
just
oh
little
yeah,
robots. I remember because we used to play Star Wars a lot, and then I think one of my friends came over and he had a GI Joe,
yeah.
and he's like, "Look what this GI Joe can do," and stuff like that. And I looked at that, and I was just like, "Okay, I need to get some of those. And then get rid of all my Star Wars figures."
Yeah. They were. I used to use them as the bounty hunters because I didn't have many Joes and I had a lot of Star Wars figures.
Yeah,
But they were always way more. You could put them in cooler poses. You can make them do cooler things.
it was just like they were just like. Well, I mean, back then we didn't really care. They didn't really
Not ter-
posability.
No, you could
There was
mash
things like
whatever franchise together you wanted
Yeah.
to.
It was nuts.
I had a penchant for, especially because the Joes weren't as dear to my heart. Like in terms of, I don't know, like I had a few, like 5 or 10, but they weren't like I had to get all the Star Wars figures. Like I had to, even as a kid, I had to get the whole collection. He was going to beat the hell out of them. But my Joes, I wasn't afraid to, duct tape a firecracker too, or to
I think we
drill
all.
3 holes in the chest and paint blood dripping out of them and stuff. You know what
I
I mean?
think we all did that, right? I
Yeah,
think we
yeah.
all. Yeah. I remember my friend had Joe, and I forget which Joe it was. He tied it to a bottle rocket.
Nice,
Just let it go off.
nice.
Just
Today you
like,
do
are
it
we
with a
gonna get him
GoPro,
back?
right?
Huh?
Today it'd be on a GoPro.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, yeah. I mean, today people would panic. Like, oh my
Yeah,
god, no,
yes,
don't
they
do that.
would. Yes,
Don't
they
do
would.
that.
Don't you know how much that's worth? Oh my god.
We built my friend had built a bunker, and we took a bunch of Joes that we didn't like. It was just a couple of bricks, right? Like
Yeah.
a cinder block, and we took a couple of bricks and built like a bunker, and put a bunch of Joes, like old Joes that were like, lost their weapons, broken thumbs, broken crotch areas, and we just stuck them in there. And we started launching bottle rockets at it.
Nice.
Go in there and just boom, it's just a big fire erupts out of the sides. You're like, pull
That's
out,
dope.
and there's a character with his whole chest is just melted. And I'm like, oh man, this is terrible.
I took a bunch of I think it was when the movie Summer School came out. I don't know if you guys remember that movie.
Yep.
Yeah, Mark Harmon.
Yeah,
Right.
Mark Harmon. And
Yeah.
I made a Texas Chainsaw Massacre playset out of old Star Trek figures. The motion picture. I had a motion picture Scotty, and I cut them up into little bits, and I had stumps with bloody stumps, and I brought them to school. Was anybody want to invest in my Texas Chainsaw Massacre playset? Nobody did.
I used to take my Joes and I'd take them, put them in Tupperware, fill it up with water, stick them in the freezer.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Cobra Commander would freeze them.
That's
the
dope.
torture. And then
Yeah,
after a while, like you look at them and their screws are all rusted and stuff.
yeah,
Back then, you're like
yeah.
a little kid. I had no idea. Like they made screwdrivers that small. I would take a steak knife and try to.
I was always finding like I can't find my 3PO, and then winter set in, and then I'm mowing the lawn, or my dad
There he
found it.
is.
You know what I mean? I have somewhere. I'll try to pull it out of one of my shelves. I have a pistol, Han Solo's pistol. The 2 C batteries and make the sound with and it's like it looks like a Luger. It's big. It's still fits in an adult hand. And he was mowing the lawn in Cape Breton Island, Nova Scotia, and a property that he's owned for like 20 years. And never owned this personally. It wasn't his. And ran over hit something with the lawnmower, a piece of plastic flew up. He dug it out, and it was like 90% intact. Even the sticker still says Star Wars on it.
Nice.
Oh, that's
So
crazy.
He sent it to me.
Buried it there.
Fucking, yeah, man. Or was playing guns and just it fell in the field, and that's where it stayed for 20 years until the grounds grew through it. Yeah.
Crazy. I was one of those kids that like I knew where all my stuff was when I was outside.
Oh,
right?
nice.
And then, I was one of the kids that was like, because it happened a couple of times, so I would be careful. Like if a character had too many weapons, I wouldn't take the weapon. I would only give him like his gun, and that's it.
Right.
I didn't want to lose everything.
I was that kid that would assign you which figures you could play with. And I'm like, yeah, you can have Walrus Man. I get Luke and Boba Fett, and you can have Princess Leia, and I get Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. And I was that jerk.
we had a set of conversation about that. It was like getting like the figures like with your friends would have like certain figures, so you wouldn't double. I think we talked about it in here, right?
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Probably.
And I was like, I would still buy the figures. I just wouldn't take them outside. So like if we were playing GI Joes and my friend like Beachhead, I had Beachhead, but he like using, so I wouldn't bring Beachhead out.
Right.
But it would just aggravate you because like you wanted to play with Beachhead, right? Or you wanted to play with Lowlight. And you're like, oh man, you guys can get this. I gotta
like most kids, you don't want to play with something until someone else has it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute, that looks fun.
Yeah, what's Josh saying here? When my dad moved into their house in Memphis, he dug up an old post and found an original cloud car pilot.
That's dope.
That'd be freaking treasure.
That's cool.
Just buried in the dirt.
Wonder how many of them there are out there.
I know, man.
Oh yeah,
like ground scanners. You probably find out something. I know you got like 40
and that plastic, I mean, it degrades, but it doesn't lose its, I mean, it gets soft and sticky or loses its color, but I bet you landfills full of old toys.
Was it? I think it was what's his name there? The guy fixes toys online. Polly something. He found a stormtrooper on a walk. Like he was walking down a path and he just found a stormtrooper half buried in the dirt.
Crazy.
I'm like, that's crazy.
I remember when I was little, we would take our Joes. My dad worked in excavation, right? So there'd always be like giant piles of topsoil and stuff. So we'd be digging little caves and whatnot and putting them in. Eventually, we did lose a few because we would have cave-ins, bury the cave, and then forget where the cave was. So somebody has a bazooka figure on their lawn somewhere.
Mulched right in.
Yep.
Yeah, I never got like that. I never got buried because, like, again, I was like, if we dug in the dirt, because we would play Joe's, and like most of the time you'd just be digging.
Yeah.
Even if like Star Wars, you just be digging in the dirt. Like if you're building bases.
Yeah, exactly.
You're digging in the dirt. You play for like an hour, and then that was it.
Yeah.
To be like, you would know where all your stuff was, because like but occasionally you would lose one. Then you'd panic, like you would remember, and then you'd go out at night with a flashlight looking for them.
I've done that. I've definitely been there.
Getting chased out of your neighbor's yard because you were in there. What are you doing in my yard? Just looking for my Joes.
I had a Greedo, man.
Who's my Greedo?
Green on green. I can't find that shit.
Circling back though, figures that we haven't got yet. Like with the most recent HasLab one with the Cantina, the 3 3/4, finally getting those two twin sisters, right?
Oh yeah, that's crazy. When they could have given us the bartender.
Exactly. Or another one we haven't got is the Mon Calamari Longshoreman from Mando.
Oh, that's right.
Still need that one.
I mean, there's a ton of obscure things. I mean, and then we do get, when you're in a scene for 5 seconds in one episode, you get Pedro Pascal in an Imperial driver's outfit.
Yep.
And that I get suckered into.
You know what I want? I want the Daniel Craig Stormtrooper.
That would be dope. That would be dope. We could, since they don't remove the helmets, I've got one here somewhere. Then
just this whole celebrity series. You don't know who you're going to get until you buy it, and then you take the helmet off and find out who it is.
That was one of my most disappointing. Is I bought that George Lucas Stormtrooper release, and his head, the trooper helmet doesn't fit on his head. Oh. His Elvis hair is too big, man.
I was gonna, don't they now they just it's like a different head sculpt, like the helmet, right?
Yeah,
that's what they should do. That whenever they do a helmet, that way you can do the hair. Like I remember when you guys were talking about what's her name, the girl who played Starbuck in the revised version. Katie something, right?
Katie Sackhoff. Yeah.
Her hair was all flat when you took the helmet off.
It totally is.
Yeah, so like you should just have a separate head sculpt for the helmet and just pop the helmet on. That way it always looks good.
Mm-hmm.
And she still hold it like it's a regular helmet. Yeah. Still a good looking figure though. The hair is flat, yeah.
She does, and I mean when that's your alternative, I have no complaints realistically. Yeah. But that's what my biggest beef to date is that they don't accessorize enough for me. I don't see why at this price point they can't accessorize more and build a figure at all.
Yeah,
when like all the other lines that they own are successful in this way.
But again, like I said, this with Star Wars, I don't think they have the final say on it.
No, it's probably true. It's probably true.
But at the same time, like with these waves where they are touching on all movies, that Build-A-Figure piece would be more incentive to buy the whole line, right?
Well, yeah,
Oh,
it would be.
I mean, yeah, especially
Especially if you got, like, I'm only a Phantom Menace fan, so I only
Yeah.
want these ones. Well, if you want this whole figure, you're gonna have to buy them all. So,
like, I have 6 core X-Men, and I need to buy like Scott Summers' father to finish the line. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what's
I
Josh
mean,
saying here? My boy does. Okay. My boy does the "I want it because you have it" thing. He goes into my Joe room, sees all my stuff, and wants everything.
yeah,
Like in his own, and he likes it for 10 minutes, and then he's on to something else.
it's true.
Yeah.
we were the same when we were kids. We'd move on,
Fully.
right? You'd be playing Joe's,
There were phases.
and then you see like Thundercats. You'd be like, oh, you play with Thundercats.
Yeah.
And then it was Mask. You're like, oh,
Right.
Thundercats. I'm playing
Right.
Mask now.
Silver.
And then
Hawk,
that was like freaking
Brave Star.
Brave Star, or what was that?
Voltron.
Yeah, Voltron. Then the space, Robotech, and what was the space one Tonka did with the little vehicles, the little guys. They'd be like motorized.
I know what you mean.
What was the name of that? Oh, starts with a C, I think. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on this.
Centurions? Or
No. It was like
They were Tonka,
very little.
but-
They were like very small. And they were like
Okay, okay.
spaceships and stuff. They had magnets and motorizing. Like they would.
That sounds so
they were like
familiar.
cubed, and you hit the little button, then the little wings would pop out. Oh
That's
my
crazy.
god, what was it called? Oh my god, I'm gonna lose my mind. Let me look this up.
The
look
gas
it up.
machine.
That's wicked. Yeah, this is a good line so far. I'm super happy with what they're doing. I wish they could accessorize more, but like you say, they might not have had the ability to.
Yeah.
It was Starcom.
Starcom.
Remember that?
Yeah,
That was
I
out
do
for like the
remember that.
shortest time. That was like the coolest toy
Starcom.
ever. You're like, oh, they're like little motorized like planes and stuff.
I remember I went over to a buddy's house at Christmas. Like I was like, I don't know, 8, 10, somewhere in that range. And I was all in on Star Wars. And that was the first time I ever saw He-Man.
Yeah.
He had Castle Grayskull. And I was like, what the crap is this? Because it was such a big scale.
Comparatively,
Suddenly your playset is like 3 of the Death Stars I have, like Battle Cat is 15 Star Wars figures worth of plastic.
Yeah,
right?
it's huge, right?
So there was that time when I sort of like, I'm still a pretty big He-Man fan, but there was a time when all of a sudden I was like, Dad, buy me He-Mans.
I was never really big into He-Man. I like the cartoon, but the figures themselves, I wasn't a big fan.
In terms of like jumping on like what you see your friends playing with.
Yeah,
definitely. The next big thing is He-Man. I gotta have that now.
Yeah, when we
pet
played
monster now.
Yeah, when we played, I didn't have any He-Man as a kid.
Yeah.
My friend did. You're like, everybody has that one friend who like gets all the toys.
That's right.
Right, and he had them all, so we just play with his. We play with his stuff, right?
Yeah,
and,
I mean, the dream. I didn't even collect Joe's. My dream thing was that aircraft carrier.
The flag.
Funny story. That's in Oshawa right now.
Oh wow,
$2,700 complete.
Wow,
that's insane, man.
My dad dated some woman that her kid had it in the basement. It was just, I was just like, what? You don't deserve this.
I've never seen one. I never saw one in person until I went to Joe Fest.
Yeah.
That was the first time I saw one.
It was probably the first thing that I was like, this is like the greatest toy. Like, I had a lot of cool stuff, but when I saw it live when I was a kid, I just
think about that.
Changed my life that the scale could be that big for a toy.
Think about it for a second though. How much was it that you said? 2,700?
I believe so. Yeah.
That's 2,700 for essentially a coffee table.
Yeah,
it is.
Because the only thing
72 inches long, I think.
Yeah, the only thing that really is like the play set. It's basically just a piece of board, and then you have the tower for the command tower, right?
Yeah.
That's really the play set, and then you just put your aircraft on the thing. So essentially, you could just take a board, cut it out to look like an aircraft, and you could probably buy that tower for like less than $100.
Or even cardboard tower with
right. You can you can make your own.
Yeah,
and instead of paying $2,700, because essentially it's just ridiculous. The size of it.
It is huge.
And people want classified version of that. I'm like, are you serious? Where are you going to put that?
Put it?
It's the size of a freaking Delta 99 in the 70s. Are you crazy?
You need a 2-car garage for your toy.
It's nuts. And then what are you going to put on it? What are you gonna put on it? They put on a Sky Striker. You know how
I
big
mean-
that thing's gonna be?
I bet you there's guys out there that have Java's sail barge that had to get rid of a pool table to accommodate it.
Oh, probably.
That
That thing was massive.
that thing is massive.
And that was
Yeah.
cool though. It was
Oh
cool.
yeah, high degree of playability with that.
I looked at
High
that, and that was
degree.
like something that you would see, like the only thing you would see that as a play set, right? If you saw that as a kid, would be in a museum, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Where they
or
had it on
at a show or
display.
something, right? Yeah,
Yeah, they had it on
absolutely.
display. And be like, oh, look
Yeah.
at this cool set. And you're like, oh wow. And
I
you're like,
think the biggest playset that Kenner ever put out was the Death Star playset, which was like
I've seen that.
a pie. I have it kicking around somewhere. It's not on
Yeah, it looks
display,
like
but
it
it's got like
looks
four.
like,
It's kind of like pie shaped, and it's probably 3 feet tall.
yeah.
This is a significant piece.
These kids that I used to play with, they had it because they had a ton of Star Wars stuff. I was like, that's crazy, and I didn't even know what it was. I thought it was the Death Star. I thought it was Star Destroyer.
Star
They're
Destroyer,
like, no,
yeah.
it's a Death Star. I'm like, it don't look like the Death Star. I said, the Death Star is like
If you could have, I don't know what it was, $25 back in 1977.
it's
but
crazy.
if you could afford 8 of them, you could have a circular sort of.
Well, I mean, Palatoy came out with a cardboard version of it.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a buddy when I was a kid that had that, which is almost a better version because it's 360 playability. It's got like doors you can walk through to other levels, an elevator that works.
Which is
I had a cardboard. It was from Sears. I had a cardboard carbonite freezing chamber playset.
yeah.
Nice.
It was
I mean-
fully licensed, but it came from Sears.
If you think about it right now, with the craze being a 6-inch, obviously, figures, or with G.I. Joe stuff. I mean, just coming out with a play set, because that's what everybody wants is a play set, right?
Right.
Or so they can set up their dioramas, right? Well, like I'd say, what 80% of the collectors don't even play with them; they just sit them on a shelf.
Yeah.
This is it.
I mean, like to come out with a plastic play set would be ridiculously expensive.
I think
If
so.
you're gonna do if you're gonna do a flag, right?
Mm.
What essentially what you could do is come up with like a cardboard deck, and like you said, you can come up with a plastic tower, and it would be pretty affordable for everybody.
Yeah.
Just come up with like a cardboard setup that you can just place somewhere.
I think that if they got if Hasbro thought about it, and there's money to be made because the secondary market, like guys 3D printing backgrounds and stuff.
Mhm.
So if
Big
they came
stuff.
out with like a modular panel, so you could have like for your Joes and for your marble lines, modular city kind of panels.
Well, they've
I
done
think
that
it's
with the 3 3/4 Death Star panels, right?
Yeah,
Right,
I think,
Like you
I
get
think
the
it's a-
hallway piece that can
It's like-
interconnect.
I think it's jazz. I want to say it's Jazzwares.
Hmm.
Jazzware
Yeah.
that does it. I'm not sure if they do. They have their own line of like Galactic, like 3 3/4 figures or 4-inch figures, and they do come out with like these like little modular sets that you can put together to build
dope,
a base.
right? You
That's
mix and
crazy.
match. Yeah,
That's
that's
cool.
That's a cool thing.
There's
The problem is the
staircases and
scale, right? Like
Well,
I've
then-
experimented with styrofoam, and in order to get a nice, like for a photograph from a distance, you need a foot. You need like you're talking about an 18-inch high wall to accommodate a 6-inch figure, just to get the background of your TB and your cat out of the shot. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
yeah, I mean, just to get the aesthetic of like whatever. Like if you're in Star Wars, I mean, some of those command rooms are huge.
right,
Like,
exactly.
They're
Yeah.
huge.
That's why it's easier to fake like a Tatooine hut or like a
Yeah,
styrofoam, like a block wall or a
right. Yeah,
thing like that.
Just thinking
Which
like
is why that most like myself and a lot of other people I see on Instagram doing action figure photography, we're out in nature because that's kind of the coolest thing. As long as you can find little tricks to belay scale and shit.
Mhm.
you can do Endor like
Oh man,
anywhere.
yeah, I have a really good. It's pinned on my Instagram of R2 and 3PO on Endor. Well, Point Pleasant Park here, but I defy you to find where the scale issues are because I just found moss that is the scale to the grass they'd be standing in, and then the crazy redwood that's in the background is only a foot in the background, but it looks,
Mhm.
so that there's that. That's where we're headed with 6-inch figures because like who can put a 6-inch scale flag in there?
Yeah.
I don't
in their
think
garage.
it's. I mean, somebody out there is doing it. I think there is somebody actually doing it.
Oh,
But I just
yeah.
think it's ridiculous. You need to have like
Space.
a limited amount of space.
There's guys building full-scale TIE fighters, 1-to-1 scale TIE fighters in their backyard too, right?
Somebody done that with the I think the Falcon down.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I'd be living in that
because they were filming their own movie, and it's a prop. It's a set and a prop for their movie. That's crazy. I mean, that's dedication, right?
If I built that, that's what I'd be living in.
Right? Imagine that having your own. Imagine that. That
house that was that.
Got a couple comments to catch up on here from Josh.
Sure.
Says, I had a few He-Man as a kid when my neighbor gave me his. He was older than I am, and I wanted more, and now he has the retro collection.
Pretty cool.
Plastic will find a way.
Never heard of the flag until I was older. Unfortunately, my Joe got into Joe around 1991, and no advertisements for it, nor did anyone know I have one.
Let me
had the Defiant and the Drome. Well, those are good.
Joe Finn, let me tell you, when I was a kid, right? And I was a kid in the 80s, and I don't even recall seeing the commercial for the flag.
I do.
I don't because I watched G.I. Joe, right?
Yeah.
And then when G.I. Joe was over, I went outside and I played G.I. Joe.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And they never showed G.I. Joe commercials during G.I. Joe. They never did.
Fair.
So I think it was like Transformers and G.I. Joes, and we would go outside and play. That's what we would do if it was nice out. So I don't recall seeing the commercial for the flag.
No.
I remember seeing one for the Defiant and like the whale, but and for the Terradrome, but never for the flag. I don't think it was until I was a little older when I saw
the commercial
for it. Yeah. And then I never seen one until I was older.
Yeah, walking into my friend's basement as a kid was the first time I ever saw one or even knew it existed, for sure.
Because I had a friend who had like everything. Like his parents got him whatever he wanted, and he didn't even have it. So it's just something nuts. It's crazy. It's huge. It's massive. It's cool. But essentially, if you look at what it is, it's just a plate, a tower, and a couple things holding up the plate. And that's $2,600. That's just gonna pay for that? I can do that on my desk.
I have a funny story about that, Josh. We did a very similar thing. I think it was like some strawberry shortcake thing where 3 3/4 figures would barely fit. Remember when they used to do that? They were almost like chibis, the chibi.
Yeah.
And we spray painted this little girl's thing black so we could use it for figures for boy figures. Man, her parents were pissed.
They said my kid's sister had a room. Like if I was home by myself or like home, I would do excursions into a room with my Joes.
Nice.
You battle like Barbies and just taking on like Smurfs and shit. That was freaking hilarious.
That's dope.
Yeah, Josh says him and his friend used to use his sister's Barbie dream house as their base of operations for Joe and Star Wars.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
it's amazing the things you find to play with. We had an old you're right, I don't know like exactly how old. Yeah, when I was a kid, we had a color TV, right? But it was sitting on top of an old wooden frame box TV. That they used to have, and it's a tube burnt out. So
style,
it's a tube burnt out, so we never got rid of it. So our new TV was on top of that, and I remember using that as like the Cobra, the Cobra like Hidden Fortress that would come up out of the thing because it was like all tan and stuff. And they had all these little compartments in it. I put my jewels in there, stuff like that. I remember using that, and then my stepfather came home and he was like, "What are you doing?" I'm just putting G.I. Joes in the living room. Just get out of here.
Yeah, we used to do that a lot. Yeah, the couch would be a big like swamp or landing area, and the coffee table would be this or that. Yeah, for sure. Nuts. Even the big boxes that some of the ships would come in, you just cut a door in the bottom and cut a window in the top, and
you got another base.
Yeah.
Josh follows that up. There's a guy that made a 3 3/4 scale USS flag in his basement. Looks fantastic.
Is that the one that made out of wood? There's one guy made out of wood. It was cool.
That'd be
crazy.
Crazy. And then follows that one up. I was born on my sister's 7th birthday. She was getting into makeup and jewelry and stuff like that, and I was starting to play with toys.
Remember when you found perfume? I started spraying all my G.I. Joes with it.
Light it on fire.
I just sprayed it. Mom got mad. Like, where's all my perfume? And Joe smelled great.
That's awesome.
Get into the nail polish. You start painting your Joes.
Oh yeah, the red nail polish.
Red always made a good blood.
Oh man, it made excellent blood.
Yeah,
fun stuff.
Well, anyway, that is our wave 2 and 3.
Awesome.
It's a good
we
wave.
We'll be back next week with, I believe, 4 and 5.
Nice. Chewbacca.
There's Chewie in that wave at least.
Chewie's coming
I
up.
believe he is.
And Vader.
Unless he's in the blue box, but I don't know what.
There was an early within the first either orange box or blue box. There's definitely a Vader.
Because I know Chewie was supposed to be in the orange box, but I think he might have slipped into the blue.
And I think it's a New Hope Vader with the weird where the I have one somewhere where the cloth goes over the armor rather than in Empire where the armor's over the cloth. They actually managed to capture that.
Yeah,
it's neat. They didn't do that much fighting in that one other than in Obi-Wan.
No, yeah,
True.
slow, sloppy. Must have been tired from Rogue One in the hallway.
Yeah.
Wicked, that's a good show, boys.
Just as I never did any of that. Joes were so rare for me, and since they were so expensive side, when I got one, I would hardly play with it.
Well, here, when we were kids, we didn't know how to fix G.I. Joe, so when they broke, we threw them away.
Yeah.
Better. Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't know there was a small enough screwdriver to take the screw out. So I used to take, when we figured out that we could take them apart, I used to take a steak knife.
Right.
And I would widen that hole up in the back so that I could bite the screw and then turn the screw out.
Yeah.
So a lot of my Joes had you couldn't put their backpacks back on. So I had to put tape around them to make them bigger to throw them in there.
I tried to fix a few with hair elastics and it just never worked out.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out how to fix it. So once you figure out how to take them apart, you would start mixing around and you start creating your Franken Joes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. Crazy time.
But anyway, we will be back on Tuesday night for Random Fandom.
Wicked.
Yep.
We're going to be moving to our new platform, I believe, for Tuesday. So fingers crossed it all works out.
Technical problems?
Minus any technical problems. I think we've got most of them ironed out, but Wes will be back for that.
Check us out on all our socials there, Facebook,
Absolutely.
Insta.
And sale's still going. So if you need some merch, head on over to the Public and get it while the getting's good.
Consider joining our Patreon where there's live nudes
of Hank.
Things of that nature.
Whoa. I don't think anyone's ready for that.
All of a sudden there was an influx. I don't know.
Carrie Fisher's assistant gave me a hand job at RonCon 3.
Oh. Was she wearing the slave gear?
Oh man.
Hey, whatever they find. But anyway, for Fandom Power, my name's Andrew.
And I'm Hank.
And special thanks to Gaz for coming out for us.
Wicked.
We will see you guys on the next one.
Hey, fan on for all the West fans.
Exactly. Fan on.
Fan on.